Hey there. So some chick emailed me, and I want to say really quickly as I'm getting this email up that if you want me to answer a question that you have, email me. I might not be able to get to it, but email me. I will not see it on my YouTube comment, so please email me if you have something for me. So she says, I'm trying to move on as gracefully as possible. However, some days I sense his breath, his anger, his pain, his frustration. There are these cords I can't cut, and this brings me so much unbalance and pain. Do you know how these connections work and how I can find my own closure? Do I understand how they work? No. Do I get them? Yes. And as somebody who spent 5 years trying to unthread myself from a entangled connection like this, at the end of those 5 years, I can only share what I've learned, and that basically trying to untangle that web is futile. So what I mean by it being futile is that these connections exist and not in temporal form. And oftentimes when we are in this form, when we are human, we want to grapple onto it and go, I'm going to keep that because you make me remember that I am me because I remember you. I know you from somewhere far beyond this place, and you know me, and I can feel you know me. And it is in that desire of remembering the self that we grapple on to the us, so to speak, that they make us remember. And what they're making us remember is really the self. So in my particular case, I did a lot of shamanic journeying, and one of my journeys, I literally remembered in a vacuum coming into the planet with this person. And actually there was 3 of us, it wasn't just about him and I. And it was more about just, okay, we're going in together. It felt like this very brotherly, sisterly, but also kind of like annoyed love. Like, oh God, are we really doing this? We're really like going into this shithole right now. Okay, you gotta promise me you're gonna come. Okay, I promise I'm gonna come. And then we come into the planet together. So it was more about like a soul group orientation than an actual egoic, like I have to be with this person because they complete me. It was like, you know me, I know you, and the ego goes, because I know you and you know me, we kind of actually, it's funny because we bypass so much of the ego stuff when we're this connected to somebody. Like we don't notice the red flags. We don't care about them as much because we're like, I know you. I could probably actually change that thing about you. But it's very easy to see their blocks instead of ours. So that's what I want to say in this situation, is that the closure that we're seeking is futile because the connection is real and we want to make it unreal, right? It's like getting a dream house, having an awesome view, and then having this tree that you're just like, oh, I don't really love that tree there because it's messing with my view, so to speak, and we want to cut it down instead of honor the divinity of the order of things, that the tree is there and it's actually part of the view. It's not obstructing the view. Right? So when we have these connections, we want to kind of cut it at the root and go, I don't want this anymore because it's confusing to me. And in my experience, the only way to stop the confusion is to stop trying to control the connection, stop trying to control the flow. It's like, okay, the tree is there. I can be like the air and I can flow around the tree, so to speak, but I'm not going to try to control the flow of the tree. Okay? So in Imperfectly Sane, I wrote a story about how this one chick one time said to me, if I have my hand open, what's the best way to keep the water? And if I have water in my hand, what's the best way to keep it? Well, obviously, if you close your hand, all of that water is going to come out, right? And you're not going to be able to keep it. And these connections aren't to be discharged from our lives, so to speak. I mean, if they're narcissistic and abusive, sure, but still it's the ego disconnecting them more than the actual connection itself. And that is necessary. It is, if you are in a narcissistic situation and you need to get in your ego to get the hell out of that situation, that's just the reality. But if you have this heartfelt, visceral connection with somebody and there's not a lot of abuse and there's not anything negative, so to speak, about it, it is by and large the opportunity for you as a being to take on all of those felt visceral feelings and actions of theirs, where you can feel them thinking about you. You can feel their loneliness and you want to show up to their loneliness, and you can almost feel that sense of like, I can feel you there, but I can't get to you. And when we look at somebody else like that, we go, I can see your blocks. I can see that if you just tweak this one thing, we could work. Well, my love, that is exactly the mirror that you're looking at in that person, is exactly the way the universe is looking at you. So instead of going, he's not showing up and I can't actually get to him, you look at it from the perspective of going, oh, this is what the universe is saying to me. Am I breathing down my own spine right now because I can't actually get into my physical body because I feel distant from myself? Am I actually angry right now? Like, I'm not gonna own this person's anger, but I am gonna try it on. What does it feel like for me to be angry? If I can feel this person's anger, if I'm that entrained with somebody else, I can feel their frustration, I can feel their thoughts, their orgasms, I can feel their longings. If I'm that entrained with somebody, it is because I am that much like them. And all of the things I can see in them, the universe is going, hey, guys, that's exactly what's going on in your energy body. And it's not so parallel, it's not always so obvious, but if you really start to own the things that you feel about them as your own, you will realize that they are a great gift for you to do the work, to actually get fully inside and integrated in yourself. So the premise of what I'm trying to say is, the only way to gain closure in these kinds of connections is to let them be what they are. It's not try to get closure. It's not try to unthread the fabric of what is. Because what is. What always was will always be. And that remembering that you feel, that's never gonna go away. Whether you have that connection with them or you don't have that connection with them, that in this physical life, that memory that they brought to you is a memory that will never go away for you. And why would we want it to, right? So this is a temporal experience. And we have very etheric connections and relationships that we need to honor, that sometimes we need to get inside of our ego to be like, okay, that's always going to be there. But if I'm having a temporal experience, how else do I want to play? Because that relationship with this person is definitely there. It's not going away, right? And for me to try to make it go away is literally futile, because it is something greater than I am. It's something more than me. And in the honoring of that, I'm going to let it be. It's like nobody can really understand God. God doesn't use language to articulate himself. And it's the same thing with these connections. So it's in the stopping of trying to understand it and the honoring that it just is what it is. And you're probably not going to understand it, but that you can make sovereign life choices based on, is it working for you? And if it's not working for you, if it's not working for the other person, to move on from the connection, but to acknowledge that it is there, it is real, and it's probably not going away, which is exactly why you don't need to grapple to keep it, nor grapple to try to control it, so to speak. So I just wanted to pop on and say that to you today. If you're having a heartfelt connection, just keep your hands open. Let the water just hang, because any kind of grappling to close it, any kind of grappling to keep it, is going to not only make you tense, but you're going to lose your essence, so to speak, because these relationships come to us to gift us essence that we didn't previously have, or that we needed to be reminded of, I should say. So that being said, I hope that your hearts are well today. And if you have a question for me, email me instead of connect with me on the comments. And also, another thing, I actually only primarily have I only have a phone practice at this point, and I primarily work with women. I don't love doing the men thing anymore. So although I do teach gender studies at a local community college, and think that it's desperately needed that we have men's studies as well as women's studies. But at this point in my practice, I'm only working with women. But my whole practice is on the phone. So if you want to work with me, it's super possible. I don't even have an office outside of my house anymore. So I've transitioned solely to phone clients, and I have to go because I have one right now. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day. Bye.